Hey everybody, time to continue producing income in retirement. This week, we're going to focus in on passive income investments. So these are investments that produce yield that we can't really count on. It's a little more some years, a little less some years. They could choose not to pay out in 1 year. So we do have to understand that this is stuff we can't count on to pay base living expenses. Passive income is the yield that comes from your portfolio. So stocks, preferred stocks, REITs, bonds, and CDs, I put all in this category. So let's jump in and start looking at each of these. So stocks, a few things we have to understand in stocks, things like declaration date, record date, X date, payment date. These are all terminology in this world. The thing is when you own a stock, you own a piece of the company. And most of these stocks out there, when they have profits, they divvy it up to the shareholders in the form of a dividend. Okay, some companies choose to keep these dividends and reinvest them in the company, maybe buy back some of the shares. Not all companies are going to pay out these dividends. If you own these dividend paying stocks 60 days before and after that dividend date, and they're a U.S. company traded on a U.S. stock exchange, they will be a qualified dividend, and qualified dividends are taxed at much lower tax rates. So this is a very tax advantaged way to produce some of that passive income. When we look at dividend yields out there, boy, they have not changed as much as interest rates. Over the last year, interest rates have rocketed. Well, dividend yields have not kept up. Okay, they haven't recovered. You look at all these income funds that are out there, and you're only getting anywhere from 1% to 3% dividend yield. You look at all of our major indices, you're looking at a little over 1%, one and some change. That's about it. There's even a high yield dividend index that's only producing 3%. So the passive income we're getting from these publicly traded stocks, these funds, they're not going to be setting the world on fire. I certainly understand there's stocks out there paying 6-7% dividends that are decent stocks, but they're usually paying them for a reason. So if you look at how debt laden that company is, it's because they're not allowed to borrow money anymore. So they have to keep issuing more and more stock to basically raise funds for their needs. So be careful of those higher paying stocks. You can't fill your whole portfolio with them, but certainly owning a few here and there, nothing wrong with that. Okay. So a lot of people find themselves diversifying using things like preferred stocks. You're seeing yields anywhere of 6+%. Okay. These are kind of a hybrid between owning a bond and a stock. They will be interest rate sensitive. But what we do have to understand is almost all preferred stocks are financial companies. And that's why that chart's there, making you realize that when 2008 happened, that was a financial crisis. These financial companies were in a real difficult patch there. And so that's why the category got hit so hard and honestly never recovered. But boy, if you bought a preferred stock portfolio in 2010, you did just fine. You had a pretty flat value, but you were earning 6-7% every year. That's not bad, especially when you're trying to produce this yield in retirement so you can actually take it and go have fun with it. All right. Now there's real estate investment trusts. Okay. Another diversification, not so great on your taxes. So just be careful about what type of money you're putting this invested in. But if you're trying to create yield, this is another good diversification. Okay, this is basically just a mutual fund filled with real estate investments. That's all it really is. And the publicly traded ones have audited books. They have you can rely on these to be real investments. So understand that these are a good diversification, and we're getting much higher yield out of these. Then there's bonds. Bonds are not the safe investments they used to be. You know, when interest rates are at 10, 12, 14% coming down, bonds are a great safe investment. But when interest rates have been floundering close to zero for over 10 years, bonds are a terrible investment when it comes to relying on them as a safe investment. Now, can they be a diversification for yield? Yes, absolutely. They're basically just long-term CDs when we're looking at them to produce yield. because you're lending somebody money and they promise to pay you interest, and at the end of the term they pay you back that money. So understand that investment grade is really the A range. Triple B in the industry right now, you'll see very quickly that we consider it very high risk right now. So be careful about the triple B bonds, because if they get relegated down to below triple B plus on this chart, then they end up being junk bonds and you will lose a ton of value, and their junk bond status for a reason. They're not likely to pay it all back. Okay. So here's the interest rates you're looking at out there. You know, you're looking in the 4s and maybe the 5s in the corporate bond world. Municipal, tax-free, you're looking at the 4s and 5s as well. We're pretty flat on interest rates out there, but boy, look at those triple B corporate bonds. The interest rates are so much higher in those because we know how much risk, how much real risk is actually in there. So owning individual bonds, trying to diversify a yield producing portfolio, nothing wrong with that. Again, don't count on these as the safe investment that we've considered them in the past. Okay. CDs. Okay, same thing here. What we realized, and actually a lot of people realized this back in 9/11, people still had those 8% CDs before 9/11 happened. And when we slammed interest rates down, a lot of people found out that those were callable, that they could just say, you know what, I don't want to pay you this interest anymore, so here's your money back. So we can't count on these. Plus, the CDs push us into shorter terms, right? Because they don't give us access to the money. They'll pay out the interest to us, but they don't let us reach in and take withdrawals from them usually. And because that's the case, they've always forced us into these shorter term 1-year CDs. And when we look at that right now, they look all glamorous and fun, but we're only guaranteed that interest for a short period of time. How do we build an income portfolio when interest rates are fluctuating as they are? We may wake up a year from now and realize interest rates are back down to 0. We may realize they're up to 10. Either way, locking into this, you can use it to diversify, but they pay interest. I don't usually like these in your after-tax portfolio, but if you're trying to build a yielding portfolio and you want some little money to churn through these CDs, nothing wrong with that. So those are really the passive income producing investments that we have out there. Those are the choices that we have. Those are the interest rates that you're seeing out there, the dividend yields that you're seeing out there. And the whole idea of passive income is to be kind of that buffer between your guaranteed income and the actual withdrawing from your portfolio. Okay, there's plenty of people out there that are living on their guaranteed income and just a little bit of passive income, a nice little dividend portfolio. There's nothing wrong with these. Properly placed for proper situations, these yielding portfolios can work out really well, and in a lot of cases can be tax advantaged. So next week, we're going to talk about the withdrawal investments that are much better for that consistent withdrawal, like required distributions, when you need more money than the yield coming from the passive income. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully I can help out. Give us a call, shoot us an email. I love this stuff. Producing portfolios for the right situation is really a puzzle, and this is the neat stuff, and making sure that we've built a proper income plan for our situation and the resources that we have can really cut down on the taxation. So give us a call, shoot us an email, like the video, make some comments below, share it with friends, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And we'll see you next week with the next portion of this class. Thanks again.